author and international speaker. I help entrepreneurs who are making between $30,000 and $130,000 a year skyrocket their income, double, in fact, your income this year, make a lot more money, doing a lot less work, having a lot less burnout, and a lot more time to have fun, to have family, friends, self-care time, travel, whatever you want to do, because you're more effective at communicating your message. You're confidently articulating what you do and why someone should buy from you, why they should invest in you, why they should pay you more than other people. So if you want to be more effective, get rid of imposter syndrome and create increased confidence and know that you are effective and how to communicate that effective with others, having people buy into you, having people say yes to you, even though you're charging more, how to effectively articulate what you do, why you're unique, why you're different, why people should buy from you versus someone else, and why they should pay you more. That is what I do. Making 30 to 130K and you would like these things, I can make you far more effective and more impactful, having more money in less time, and of course, having a lot more fun and less burnout. I'm James Robert Elliot, looking forward to being of service. Talk to you soon.
Hi, and welcome to today's workshop, the 4 steps to build trust and authority with your audience, from James Elliot. We firstly want to just apologize to those of our users who joined us last week for the same workshop. We had a technical issue which was resolved, but it was not within our control at that time. So we're all ready and all set to get off today. Pop us a message in the chat to tell us where you're joining us from. We'd be happy to know. Today's really an interesting subject. James is he's basically a human behavior expert. He's a master trainer. He's an international bestseller author, and he's got 20 years of experience already in the field. I invite you as well to check out James's website at unleashyourpower.com. And James is going to really walk us through, how we can build trust and be authoritative in the video scenario. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce James, and in the meantime, I'd like to see, get some comments from you guys to see where you're coming in, joining us from. Be happy to see that.
Hey, everybody. Good afternoon or good morning, depending where you're from. Amazing. Cool. Hello, Kevin, my friend. Good to be here again, brother.
Great to have you both, James. This time it's nice to be in front and not behind the scenes of you.
Fair enough. Yes, fair enough. You're in front of the scenes this time. I love it. Very cool. We got some cool stuff for you guys today. I'm excited. Kevin and I, we're gonna talk. We're gonna discuss. We're gonna do both interview and slides versus death by PowerPoint. Right? I want to make it interesting and interactive for you guys. If you have questions as well, I would love for you to ask questions as well. I'm sure Kevin may have some good questions for me as well because he knows you guys well and knows his tool, obviously. And just want to give you my best today. Any, again, questions, concerns, comments, feel free to ask. I want to teach you some really cool stuff today. And I don't know, Kevin, I would invite people to put in the chat anything that stops them, anything that gets in their way, any challenges that gets in their way, things that limit them, prevent you. I would encourage you to do that. And I can tie this into that as well. Problems with authority, with trust. I'm not an SEO guy. I can't necessarily get your videos ranking better. However, I can help you make them more effective.
Right.
Although that being said, when you title them better, you do better titles, you are going to rank better.
Absolutely. And James, just to understand a little bit better, we're speaking about building trust and authority. What are the kind of things that we're going to learn that are going to help us build trust and authority before we go, into the details about it?
A really good question. So we're going to look at where, if you speak from a place of authenticity, you can often build trust. Authority too, but you build trust really well when you speak from a place that's open, that's candid. So many people are so afraid or so worried. I was there. I'm guilty of it too, of what people think about us, that it really limits them. It limits them, it limits you from being at your best, being open. And the reason that happens, if you think about it, can you connect with someone if they seem too perfect, like too far ahead, too perfect? Oh my God, they're way far ahead of me. They're too perfect. It's hard to connect with people. So one of the ways is just by being really authentic, like truly authentic, not the wishy-washy. Oh yeah, everyone needs to be authentic. Really be truly raw, real, and authentic. That is, from my research, talking with many, many, many other experts, just be real. Just be you. Be quirky if you want. That's why people are going to like you, and that's why you're going to stand out. So that's one thing. Building trust. Be honestly. Aim to serve, and we'll talk more in a bit too. Aim to serve. Be authentic, and then with authority, honestly, know your stuff and be really, really good at it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be there yet. You don't have to be done learning. You can keep learning, but know your stuff well. And versus being just knowing just enough to be dangerous, as the saying
No,
goes, right?
no.
Really know your stuff. And again, as you guys, Kevin, you guys really know your stuff, and that's why you build credibility with your people and authority with your people. You can build authority well with what comes out of your mouth and your body language as well. We'll get into all that too. Those are the things. A couple of things we're going to be learning as well. Why speaking from a place of authority is so necessary. Again, why being vulnerable is so necessary. If you want to win, you don't want to fail. You need to be being vulnerable and embracing failure. Go ahead.
Just what strikes me is that we're learning. We're coming here today to learn to build trust and authority in terms of how we present ourselves in a video scenario. But a lot of us, like myself as well, I'm not a natural in front of the camera. So there's a trepidation, there's a fear when we come in front of the camera.
Sure.
Those are the kind of things as well that the NLP and this whole maybe you want to also explain a little bit about the NLP and what that is and how that fits into this. Are these the kind of things that are going to help us build our own confidence to gain that trust and authority from our audience?
Perfect. Good idea. So again, the talk is titled 4 Steps to Build Trust and Authority with Your Audience Using NLP, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. And NLP, it came from years ago, modeling the most successful people in the world over eons, and of course, people of today as well. Captains of industry, speakers, CEOs, mentors, coaches, therapists as well, philosophers, researchers. The research done around NLP came from, again, researching, studying, modeling the most successful people in the world and boiling it down to a set of set of tools, a mindset as well, a way of being, a way of speaking, a way of communicating. And just you model someone successful, you're going to be successful too. I'm going to have a drink of water. You model someone successful.
In fact, while you drink the water, I'm just going to acknowledge our audience because we're really happy to have them with us today. So, we just say hi to Jolene, who's from South Florida. Then we've got Lee as well. I'm not sure where Lee's from, HI. I'm not sure I've done an abbreviation. Excuse me, Lee. We've got Patricia from Northern California. And we got from one of our users from Dallas, from Naples, Florida. Shannon, welcome. Uzi, welcome to you as well. Then we've got Hugh with us and Manny from Ohio. So we got from Maui. We got Ernest from Maui, from Rainville. So it's really great to have you all with us today. And I really encourage you. Test out, James is here for that. Put your questions into the chat. We'll pick your questions up as often as possible, and we'll put them to James when there's an opportunity to do that. You're also going to get an opportunity to reach out to James afterwards, individually. So don't worry about that. This is also being recorded, so it's going to be on our YouTube channel. You can go through it again, so you can pick up all the gems that James is going to give us today. So great. So without further ado, James, over to you.
Right on. Beautiful. Amazing. So let me start with what not to do. How do we start with that? Start with a couple things what not to do, because that's often as useful as what to do, right? So that's a key thing too. And what not to do is to be like everyone else. Now, consciously and conceptually, we know this. However, the lizard brain in our brain, back here in our brainstem, is very, very, very well developed over millions of years. or however humans have been, roaming the earth. Now, our prefrontal cortex here, which is why we're different from animals, it reasons, it has reasoning and logic and thinking. That's why, if you look about it, most animals have a snout. They don't have this part here. They, again, look at apes and monkeys, right? They don't have our prefrontal cortex, so they have a bit of a snout there goes out. Most animals do. We have this area right here filled with some really kick-ass matter that makes us humans. So our prefrontal cortex is new, and our lizard brain down here, back here in your brainstem, in the back of your brain, lower brain, is very, very well developed. So the fear often, as you all know, overrides your logic. Well, okay, I'm not going to die by doing a presentation. I'm not going to die by doing a video. However, we all have this people pleasing, it really inbuilt into us, because we don't want to be rejected. We don't want to be abandoned or cast out of our community. Think about this. Back in caveman days, what happened to you if you were, or even as an ape or monkey, what happened if you were cast out of your community, right? You'd likely die. Right? Safety in numbers. Now, the neat thing here, the neat interesting thing here is that, of course, we're not going to die if we, get cast out of a group or get fired from a job or stop hanging out with people. However, our need to look good and people please and be likable, all this stuff is still very, very ingrained in us. So again, we need to go against the grain. And that's why conceptually people know to be different and that they should be different to stand out. However, again, we don't want to. It's going against the grain. We don't know how to stand out. We don't know how to be different.
Right.
And so that's a big part of today is I'm going to be telling you this as well. I'm going to be communicating this to you and teaching you some kick-ass things. So that's a really cool point as well, because to your point, Kevin, as well, a lot of the introverts or people who aren't people who aren't people necessarily do find it a little harder. But again, a lot of us, even me, when I first started videos, a lot of, fear of failure. What would people think? When I wrote my first book, I was like, what would people think? Becoming a best-selling author. I'm like, this is amazing, but oh my God, what would people think? What if they don't like it? What if they hate it? What if they make fun of me? What if I fail? What if, right? What if?
And James, this fear that we have, which I assume comes from the lizard cortex, is this a personal fear which everybody has in terms of their own individual experience, or is this like a general kind of fear?
I would say both, really. It is personalized. We are programmed from birth by religion, culture, society, all of these things. Parents, teachers, authority figures, the media, news, and for heaven's sakes, avoid listening to the news or watching the news when you wake up in the morning, because your brain is highly programmable, highly susceptible. We'll talk about that later if there's a time, or there's another lesson.
Excellent.
You are highly susceptible.
Sounds like we're going to have a really interesting evening.
It's going to be cool. Very cool. And so we need to be very, very careful what we put into our brain first thing in the morning and last thing in the evening. And maybe I'll teach us some stuff on that later as well. Put only great stuff in, nothing that you're going to have to decide, is this good? Is this bad? Do I believe in this? Do I not believe in this? Make your own personal declaration, or listen to some good meditative tapes or tapes anymore. Dating myself, meditative, YouTube videos or MP3s or whatever it is, right? So again, empowering yourself. And so your point, yes, it's part programming, part nature, part nurture, these fears we have. Again, because it stops us from being different, stops us from speaking out. It stops us from being raw and real with people. And everyone I've talked to, and you guys in the audience too, think about this for a second. You would probably far, far appreciate and like someone more who's raw, who's real, maybe doesn't have perfect video. Now, of course, you want the best video quality as possible, and you want the best audio quality as possible. And Kevin, you're an expert in this, and you probably, I've heard that your video can be okay as long as your audio is quite good, and people will keep watching the video. That being said, I've done videos from the Caribbean, I've done videos from South America, from Southeast Asia, and they're not always perfect. Even my TikTok videos, I need a bit of a newer camera. This phone's getting a little old, and the video is not perfect. However, it's the value of the content, being raw and real and authentic. Hey, hey, this is James in the raw, or hey, this is Susie in the raw. This is Kevin in the raw. This is Jerry in the raw. Right. This is Jennifer in the raw.
In our context, where we're speaking about trust and authority, which of the senses are the primary ones that we're going to be looking at? Is it the vocal, the audio? Is it the visual? Is it the other auditory senses that we're picking up? When we're moving along.
That's a really good question. And the answer is it's all of them. And the reason why it's all of them, whether it's visual, auditory, whether it's kinesthetic, feeling based, or tactile if you're in person. And there's another one called auditory digital. And in fact, let's pull up the slides if you don't mind, please. And I'll go through this and give you a bit of a visual because again, we're all of these as well. If you could flip to the slide, if you don't mind, please, that says communication styles, and it should be a few slides in. There's me, if you want to know about me as well. We can talk about me later. How's that sound? So visual people, thank you. So there's 4 major communication styles, guys. And get this, listen. You are missing up to 80% of the people that you communicate with due to a mismatch in communication styles. It's like speaking Russian to someone that speaks only English, or speaking Spanish to someone that speaks only French, or speaking Cantonese to someone who speaks only, Malaysian or French, right? There's 4 dominant communication and learning styles, in the world, in humans. And when you teach, speak, communicate, you really, really want to make sure you're hitting all of these. Mm-hmm. Now, we're all of these. We have all of these 4, again, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and this again, auditory digital, which is the fact-finding people that love data, love information, love research that I have less than 0 interest in. I'm more of a be big, be bright, be bold, and then be gone kind of guy. Give me the gist of it, the facts, a little bit of support, a little proof. Okay, that sounds good. I'm in or I'm out. And the problem is if we're not hitting all these in your videos, in your sales, in your pitches, on your copy, on your website, guys, on your marketing, anything, on your trainings and communication, you're missing a lot of people. Up to 80% of people are missing.
So that's my question, James. You say that we, in some way, we have to kind of find a way that we can connect with our audience, right? And our audience is different because, like you say, our audience can be culturally different, can be, personality different. How do we do that when we say we're preparing a video? We don't necessarily know who our audience is going to be. How can we overcome that barrier?
Good question. So what we use is something called CAV, K-A-V. And CAV is interesting, or CAVAD. And it's kinesthetic, auditory, visual, again, auditory, digital. So essentially what it's doing is in your communication, in your videos, in your imagery, you want to make sure you're hitting all these points. For example, when right now we're having visuals, instead of me just talking about ideas, there's visuals. There's a picture which says 1,000 words. It appeals to the visuals, including myself, a nice bright picture. So again, when you do anything, videos for TikTok, for your website, anything you do on Big View, and you might see other YouTubers do this too, put at least a picture in, some stock photos or photos of you. Put a little mini video clip in to illustrate what you're talking about. It makes a huge difference in supporting the visuals as you're speaking, because as you're speaking, of course, you're gonna hit in touch with the auditory people. That's fairly easy. If you're speaking, it's fairly easy to touch the auditory people as well. The other thing you want to do is you want to use different words for different people. For example, a visual person will respond to visual words. I'm a visual person. See what I mean? Does that look good for you? Wow. And you want to rotate through these. So an auditory person, you'd say, does that sound good? Or do you hear what I'm saying? And depending which one these are, people will really perk up and nod. So when in doubt, what you do, and unless you've been to my NLP training and my training I do, to know who is who, then you can rotate through these, especially on video when there's going to be a mix of people. Rotate through these. Again, the visuals, visual people. Next slide, please, Kevin. Cool. Auditory people. Again, communication, sounds, as well. If you're talking to them, you're going to help. It's going to help, right? That being said, you're also going to want to, like I just did, you're also going to want to vary pitch to keep them perked up, keep them interested as well. Listen. just like I did, having them really listen, having cues versus just a boring, monotonous voice talking about the same all, you're going to lose them, right? So auditory, if you're speaking, that's half the battle. If you're talking, that's half the battle for an auditory. That being said, you're also going to ideally, this is elegant, so don't worry about getting this perfect. Please avoid worrying about getting this perfect. You want to use words like, how does that sound? Can you, does that sound good? Or are you hearing what I'm saying? Those kind of words as well. You want to use and rotate through those as well. Again, you don't have to be super perfect with this or super elegant with this, as long as you weave in these elements and you're speaking to the 4 dominant communication styles. The cool thing about this, guys, listen, is that it doesn't matter what country, what culture people are, all humans have these 4 dominant communication and learning styles. And this is different than Myers-Briggs. This is different from Colby, all the personality styles. These are different. These are 4 dominant communication styles all humans have.
Right.
Again, so next slide, please, Kevin.
So my question here, James, is would I be correct in saying if you're doing like a podcast, so then you only on the auditory level, so you really want to be looking at the language that's auditory, or even in spite of being on a podcast, would you want to add visual language into your podcast?
You got it. Exactly. Because you're right. An auditory podcast, you're going to only likely be hitting a dominant of auditory digital and maybe auditory digital, the fact finders. You may miss some visuals. So using words like imagine, or just visualize, guys, your business success. You're speaking in front of a big audience, or you're teaching to all these people, or you're doing whatever you want to do. Like imagine. You want to use a lot of visual words. Picture yourself, everyone. Picture yourself doing this and doing that, or picture yourself not doing that anymore. Picture yourself not worried about this, not stressing. Picture yourself working from an island, a beach island. Picture yourself after you're done working with me, Susie or Sia or Miles or Mike, Jerry, anyone. Picture yourself. This is what you get after working with me. Or again, I'm just giving examples. Yes, you want to, exactly, Kevin, use a lot of visual imagery and language. Now, moving to kinesthetic people, you're also in a podcast going to want to do that. And what's it going to feel like? Or how does that feel when you think of A, B, C, D? What's it going to feel like when you're able to do D, E, F, G, or to stop doing X, Y, Z? You can use language. You can still hit this if you're on a podcast, for example. And again, I encourage you to do it even if you have visuals. Right? So feeling words. In fact, feelings are one of the most important. Because 40% of people are kinesthetic, the other 40 are visual, and the other 20 are auditory and auditory digital. That being said, those statistics aside, again, so if you're auditory or auditory digital, Miles, a blend of content delivery, a blend of media. And when it comes to my course, there's all kinds of different media, all kinds of things we do. So again, if you're on a podcast, yes, you want to use a lot of feeling language. And remember, you guys have probably heard this saying before, people, and if you haven't, listen, people buy emotionally. They make decisions emotionally, no matter what it is, a stick of gum or a house, they buy emotionally and then they justify logically. I really needed that new purse. So I needed those new $400 shoes, or I needed that new expensive sports car so I could get to work better. I'm saving money on gas. Yeah, but the sports car cost you, however, $100,000, right? So we always, or the shoes or the whatever, we always justify logically. However, our decisions are made emotionally. So what you want to do, anything, whether it's a video or a podcast audio only, you want to really, really make sure you pump up the feeling. So KAV, kinesthetic, KAVAD, kinesthetic, auditory, visual, and then auditory digital facts. Give some facts and support, and I'll do that in a moment too.
Right. I've got a question for you, James.
Yeah.
We've got you're giving us this kind of approach that we can use different sensory elements and different techniques to reach different people that have different ways of connecting with us. But like, surely we may not have as much experience. We don't have 20 years like yourself. As a human behavior expert, what are the kind of mistakes that people make that they should try to be aware of when they connecting with the audience with using these kind of tools?
And that's a really good question. One of the biggest mistakes is defaulting, because under times of stress, we will default to our dominant. We all have all these in us. However, we have a dominant one. So during times of stress or duress, e.g., when you're on camera, you're presenting, you're teaching, coaching, training, working, whatever you're doing, we'll often default to our most dominant one, and that means we're missing everyone else. So again, one of the people in the chat had said, so it sounds like, rotate through these, and exactly, just all you need to do, remember CAV, KAV, or CAVAD, KAVAD. Rotate through these in some manner, some fashion. Make sure, do I have feelings? Am I supporting feelings somehow? And the tactile people, maybe it's through an experience, maybe it's a video. Videos will bring up feelings as well. Videos bring up emotions. Videos are experiential. So kinesthetic people like feelings and experience. So videos can do that. That's why video is king. And you're right, Kevin. Make sure there's some sort of visuals, pictures, videos for the visual people. And again, if it's on a podcast, audio only, again, what you can do is just make sure you're using a lot of language. And remember, KAV, put it in front of you on a sticker, because when you're stressed or in duress or nervous or scared, you'll dominantly go to your most dominant one.
How do we measure KAV, James? How do I say I've made my video before I send it out? I want to make sure that I'm hitting all the levels.
Yeah, good question. So one of the things is just to have that almost KAV as a check mark. Am I appealing to feelings, to emotions? Again, that's how people buy, and that's 40% of people kinesthetic. Am I appealing to emotions? Check. KAV, a check mark. Yep, I have some feelings. I have some videos. I'm be talking about, imagine, and have people visualize, and have people think about the future, and what would that make you feel? I have videos, like I said. Okay, the A, auditory. Well, I'm talking. Well, I'm pretty much covering that, other than maybe using, again, great descriptive language. How's that sound? Things like that. Audio is easier to cover. Unfortunately, auditory is only 20% of the population. So it's the easiest to cover. However, it's the least amount of people you're hitting with that. And then the visual, KAV, visual, making sure you have some sort of visuals, pictures, movies, a symbol, even a symbol or an icon or graphic. And again, using awesome body language like this too. Use and practice body language, right? Body language is key. Avoid too much body language. However, body language is key, especially when you want to make something a point for emphasis.
Right. So let's put it in context. We here with an audio visual, workshop that we're doing. We have an audience which we have contact with through the chat. People have like kind of access, but limited access to us. So now, here you're saying, check your language, make sure that people are understanding what we're saying, and confirming via the chat. Make sure that we have like visual elements that are helping people on, getting our message across, and then make sure that people identify, emotionally with the content that we delivering to them.
Yep. Agreed. It's the check mark. KAV when you're presenting. KAV, do I have some visual elements? Come kinesthetic and some auditory elements, and then some support. The ADs will want some support. Give a little support, a tiny bit of support information, proof, support, quotes from an expert, whatever. Now, I'll talk about that later too. I'll give you a system actually to make this a lot easier. So we'll talk about this later as well. Right. So, and again, yes, Miles says there's podcast with an excellent storytelling, that achieves, and it's again a storytelling because you're using usually all the senses. You're using emotion. Storytelling is great. Tell your story, because, and that's another tip as well for you guys. Speaking of authority and trust, share your hero's journey. Share your story as well, because hey, look, I did it. I'm not just talking on it. I was there. I did this. Now I'm here. Again, tell your story, because as Miles said, storytelling is a great way to have imagery and have people literally following along in their heads, visually, auditory, and feelings.
Maybe it's a good time to tell a little bit about yourself, because I know that's part of your personal journey as well. And I think, that would be interesting to hear from your side. You obviously took that personal journey and you made it into something, as a career and a profession from there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I flip back, if you don't mind, to my slide about 3 or 4 ago, please. And I'll show you how this works, guys. So there's basically 3 or 4 steps to the 3 or 4 steps basically to having a really hero's journey / customer connection story. And it doesn't always have to be about yourself. Telling stories about your successful clients will, again, have people in their mind visualize success. And again, this is a way to build trust and authority at the same time. Wow, it sounds like they can help people. And wow, it sounds like they know what they're doing. So I've been doing this for a long time. And as it says at the very bottom, I used to struggle. I used to struggle with communication, struggle with confidence. I used to struggle with speaking up and speaking out. I was very shy and quiet. I used to struggle with boundaries, and I used to have people walk all over me, which made me anxious. I had terrible anxiety, depression. I wasn't speaking out. I wasn't taking action because I was so resistant and procrastinating to take action because of the fear of failure. Because of all this stuff that had happened in my life in the past. And as I always say, make your scars your strengths and make your wounds your wisdom, guys. That is what people will resonate with. So that's exactly what I did. All this crap I went through in life, it didn't happen to me. It happened for me. And by dealing with all these things, again, bullying, depression, anxiety, all this stuff, weight issues, health issues, energy level issues, all this stuff, trouble speaking out. What I did is I found these amazing tools. That's why I teach them. One of the most important ones being NLP, and that's why I teach NLP or neuro-linguistic programming. It helps you transform business. It helps you transform, mind, body, spirit, everything. It helps you unleash your potential, which is why my courses are coincidentally called Unleash Your Potential, to get rid of all that baggage, that stuff, that trauma, that programming. We all have that programming from life. If you've lived for longer than 6 months on the earth, you have programming. Again, culture, parents, grandparents, media, news, all this stuff, guys, friends, all this stuff we need to get rid of. So I use the tools to get rid of all that stuff. And I'm still using the tools to keep working on the onion layers, if you will.
Wonderful. And I thought that was so profound. It didn't happen to me, it happened for me. There's just so much inside of that statement. And I think let's see if we can hear from the audience in the chat if they have something that they want to share with us on that, their own challenges, the kind of things, and maybe they can ask you some questions concerning that. Maybe we can get some feedback from them.
I'm very happy to, very, very happy to. It's being humble and humble, authentic, vulnerable. To your point, Kevin. And I'd love to comment on some of you guys' questions. It's amazing. And I've used this to literally transform my life and the lives of many, many other entrepreneurs and business owners that I've taught it to. And now I'm here. So this is the end of my hero's story. And now I'm here. I just got back from living and working in Colombia for a month. I was in shorts and a t-shirt all day long. It was amazing. I can work from the cottage 7 months a year. This is my life. I love it. I help people. I make great money. I have a lot of fun. I take a lot of vacation. I make, again, not to toot my own horn, but this is what I want for you guys. I make more money than a lot of people do. And I usually take 2 or 3 months off a year. So I work, 9, maybe 10 months a year, and I make more money having fun, doing what I love. And I want that for you guys too.
Fantastic. And that's attainable if you stick to the principles and you kind of find your what I'll call your sweet spot. So I'll let you elaborate on that. But
yeah.
Okay, so we had some feedback. Sorry, excuse me, James. Miles really, he said it's being about vulnerable and humble.
It is. Yeah, it truly is. No one. People don't. There's so much fakeness these days, guys. So much fakeness these days, and my to your point, Kevin, my invitation is to be as open and vulnerable. And yes, it can be very uncomfortable. And that's the path, though, to your success. That's the door you got to walk through to your success. Be very, very raw, real, open, authentic with people. You don't have to open the kimono and show them everything, metaphorically. However, be raw, be real, because that's who people will connect with. That's how you'll get the right customers, by connecting with people, being open, working on yourself. You'll keep attracting better and better and more people. And I'm living proof of that, right? I'm literally living proof of keep working on yourself. And again, NLP is one of the best ways to do that. The courses I teach is the best way I know. I learned it, now I teach it. And to your point, Kevin, it's it's about being raw and real and honest and open. That will get you trust. That will get you authority as well, but that will get you trust every time. People connect. No one connects with people that's fake and raw and all this nonsense and someone sitting on a Ferrari or sitting on a Lamborghini and all that bullshit, pardon my language. People know it's fake. It's probably not even your car. Do you even know how to drive manual? You know, like whatever it is, that people, all this fakeness, right? Just be real and raw, and people, I promise you, raw and real, and people will connect with you. And I'll give you, here's another secret too. Here's another secret to connect with people too. Because again, I agree, video is king. Video is so powerful because it can hit the visuals, auditories, kinesthetics, auditory digitals. Send love and connect to the camera. Visualize your perfect person, or again, if you're talking to someone one-on-one and you're only on the phone with them, pull up a picture of them or just visualize them and their big success. Send love to the camera. Connect to the people behind the camera. I'm not just looking at my little camera lens right here. I'm actually looking at all you guys, visualizing, looking at you guys in my mind. So connect to the people. Talk to people. Right. And visualize your perfect person there. That whoever said, if you're nervous, look at the back wall of an auditorium, or look at the back wall if you're nervous and talk to the back wall. That's horrible advice because you connect with nobody. You may be a little less nervous. You connect with nobody.
Yeah.
Right. So picture your picture your.
You've got so much feedback, which is so for me relevant. Esther's saying learning from your mistakes, and I see Miles identified your Star Wars microphone.
That's too funny.
And then the deeper states also, he also had some kind of a life-changing experience with NLP. So obviously this is real serious stuff, and we can really benefit from it, not only in our personal lives, but in our business lives. So I get the trust, but like the authority, how does that link to the authority side of things?
For sure. Well, that's a really good one too. And just to tie off there, which also links to authority, here's something, guys, and use this and abuse this. Trust me, this works. If you want to build authority, and especially trust, because it's impossible to build authority without trust. If they don't trust you, they're not listening to you. Use this. When you're meeting someone, when you're walking up to someone, when you're speaking, before you're about to speak, while you're having a conversation, whatever. Use this and say this to the person in your head. You're safe. I've got your back. And mean it. You need to mean it. This is a magic phrase that will get you instant trust and rapport with people. Instant trust. It is amazing. Again, use it on a networking event. Use it on a date. Use it on a business event. You're just in your head. You're safe. I've got your back.
Yeah.
It does two things. First of all,
and we have somebody who has our back here. We should mention, and that's Bruno. That's Bruno. Bruno has our back. Bruno's our back-end guy. And a lot of you probably know Bruno. He's our trainer at Big Views, really our principal trainer. And he really is the heart behind our workshop. So I just want to also acknowledge him there as well at the same time.
Right on. Very cool. Yes, exactly. He's got it. He's got it for sure. So yes. Someone says, "What's NPO?" in the chat. Are you asking about NLP? Is that it, or are you asking something else?
No, there was actually a comment with NPO. I must be honest, I also didn't know. It was Esther was saying, learning from mistakes, building a grassroots NPO. A non-profit organization, maybe?
Got it. Thank you. Got it. I didn't know if they were referring. I know someone did ask, they said, just joining in, what is NLP? And neurolinguistic programming, NLP, is, again, it's a tool to basically take everything you do, make it better. It's to unleash your potential, unleash your power. It comes from modeling the most successful people in the world. It's studying and modeling the most successful people in the world. So if you want to be one of those people, well, you follow the principles of NLP and do what they do while being yourself. And guess what? You're going to be wildly successful too. So anyways, back to authority. So again, you're safe. I've got your back. That'll build the trust so that you have the time and room to build the authority. You're safe, Ginny. You're safe. I've got your back. You're safe. I've got your back. And heck, sometimes I even say it when I'm mentoring someone or talking to someone or in a group. I do it. I say, guys, and all you guys, you're safe, guys. I've got your back. I want the best for you. My intention is to serve you and give you my best today.
Absolutely.
And so you're safe. I've got your back. Now, you don't have to say that out loud if you don't want to. You don't have to. And we'll talk after. If you guys, I'll tell you more about how to work with me, my programs, my trainings. They're life changing. Otherwise, I don't charge you. So we'll talk about that later. Again, you're safe. I've got your back. So once you do that as well, well, we need to build authority. So, well, how do we build authority? And how do we build credibility? Well, and influence, persuasion, credibility, authority. I'll use them interchangeably as well. So one of the things to build credibility and authority is to tell your story, tell your hero's journey. Because if you've been there, I was here, depression, anxiety, all this stuff, couldn't communicate. And then I did this. I learned NLP and all these principles and tools. Now I'm able to help people communicate well, teach people from a guy who could barely communicate. And someone said, you're not a very present person. You don't listen very well years ago, to now I get commented on. I can't believe how much I can tell you, James. I can't believe how present you are, how much you just listen. I feel I can tell you anything. I can feel I can talk to you about anything, right? So it's going from that to here. Again, tell your hero's journey. Your hero's journey is key. One of the biggest ways to build credibility and authority. The other one is to really be careful with body language. And really, really be congruent with what you're saying and selling, because your words may lie, your body will not deny. There's another one for you. Your words may lie, your body will not deny. So what this means is if you're nervous, if you're gesturing nervously versus, again, not to toot my own horn, but again, very powerfully, listen, guys, this is important. I want you to get this point. Instead of gesturing nervously or too much or speaking too quickly, for example. That is going to be a key thing. So pace your speech, because when we're nervous, we usually speak too quickly. I naturally speak quickly, but when people are nervous, we speak too quickly, gesture too much. Have powerful, concise, precise body language, and that will also convey authority. This is a great way to convey authority as well. Steepled hands. Hunched over is not a good way to convince people and convey authority and confidence. Touching your face too much, touching your nose, gulping all the time, like that nervous gulp. Again, let's relax. Be present. One of the best ways to do that, to build authority, is by inhaling for 4 seconds, holding it for 7 seconds, and then exhaling for 8 seconds. Called 4-7-8 breathing, and that will, look, my voice just dropped down even more.
Yeah, and I think we unfortunately we have this tendency to get caught up in a rush, and we never stop and breathe, like you say. Maybe just to be conscious of that can already change a lot. Definitely so.
It's so true. It's so true. And so not getting caught up in things. Again, if you need to breathe, no one's going to tell if you're, and then holding for 7 and exhaling. No one's going to be able to tell unless you're speaking, right? Just do this. And there's lots of the techniques I'll teach as well, how to be present, grounded. Again, however, the big thing though is tell your story and tell a client story. That reminds me of a story. And what you can do, guys, you can pace a client's problem, or if you're doing a video, pace your avatar, your target population's problem, pace their problem by telling a story. That reminds me of a story. I was talking to my customer Jim the other day, and Jim and Betty, and they had this problem, and this wasn't working well, and that wasn't going well. So I helped them do this and that. And now, oh my goodness, it's like Jim is able to do this, and Betty's able to do that. And my goodness, you should watch them shine, because they're having this and this and this outcome. Wow, it's amazing. And
so am I correct in understanding you're saying, instead of confronting the person with whatever the issue may be itself, you deflecting it to someone else and you're showing them that there is a solution for it?
You got it. Absolutely. Yeah. Pace there, and you don't have to do it exactly. You can pace there what they're saying. If it's a male, you can tell a story about a female. Again, vice versa, female, male, or a kid, or heck, a character. It's funny you say that. It reminds me of a story I was reading to my nephew and my niece about a little turtle that had this problem, and then the turtle did this and that. Whatever. You can pace their experience, right? And I was my niece. She was having this problem, and with people or bullies or whatever. And you're pacing someone's problem. Let's say I don't know, their problem is bullying at work. And she did this and that, and I helped her do this and that. And now she's able to do this. She stands up. So you're able to pace, of course, your own journey with people, and pace a client's journey. It's interesting. That reminds me of a story. Tell them a really quick, interesting story. Pace their problems. It doesn't have to be exactly like them. You can change things up a bit. If it's about business, pleasure, tell them if it's a pleasure, or personal, tell them about business. Either way, without getting too technical, too wild with it, tell a story that about someone you know or you've worked with that paces their problems, their experience, and their desires. So that's another great way, because wow, oh my goodness, they've worked with someone like me. They know what it's like to be me. Oh my goodness. And again, storytelling, there's a saying, facts tell, stories sell. Right? Facts tell, stories sell. So that's a big one too.
Okay.
Next one to build authority is give value first. Give value to get value. Right? Give value first to get credibility, authority, trust, rapport. Give some sort of value. For example, I love doing this. I'm giving value. We're now, Big View, myself, we're giving value now to you guys in an effort to serve and support. We want to help. And that is a really, really great way also to get authority. You can show them, give them samples of yourself, and give them examples. Give them your best stuff. And listen. Give them your best stuff. Because you're not giving them the how, you're giving them what they need to do. Guys, do you need to do step A, step B, step C, step D? You need to do this and do that. You're not giving them the how. You are the how, guys. Working with you, Ernest, working with you, Miles, everyone, working with you, Lamont, Ginny, everyone, Sandra, everyone, Esther, working with you is the how. You can give them the what in all your videos, and give them what they need to do, and give them the why. Otherwise, this is going to happen, or otherwise, that's going to happen. And I'll give you an example of that right now. So, guys, you need to give people the what and the why. They need to know. Otherwise, why would they care, right? And there's no differentiation between you and anyone else. So, by giving value, it does two things. A, it gets them to know you. Lets them get to know you. You hear you talk, and again, doesn't have to be perfect. Like, wow, I appreciate what he's saying. I appreciate what she's saying. I get that, or that makes sense. Or wow, yeah, I'd like to learn more from this person. So it gives you the authority. The other thing it does when you give value first, that's why, again, videos are amazing. Give values, teachings, webinars, anything. YouTube videos, videos on your website, anything you do. The other thing it does when you give value first, it subconsciously what makes people like and trust you and want to reciprocate and choose you. So there's almost an unconscious desire to choose. Well, I want to work with Patrick or Paul. I want to work with Wayne and Miles. I want to work with Lamont. That's all the gentlemen that are replying to the I want to work with Esther, right? And people will want and be compelled to work with you because you've done this for them, because you've helped them out.
Yeah.
Right? So
let's try and understand this a little bit better. You're saying that the real value is not really in the information. Real value is really in how you execute the information, how you put it into practice. And therefore, if you give them the value that the information itself has, and they see that you have this kind of layer of information that you can transmit to them, then they'll have confidence in you to actually transmit the information, even though the information is already accessible to them.
Yep, correct, exactly. Give quality information. Give them your best. Like I said, you don't have to worry about giving your best stuff. Give them your best because they'll be like, wow, what else do they have? Again, give them the what? Your best stuff, guys. Trust me, not this little, I'm sure you've all downloaded a lead magnet or a free thing that's a piece of junk. Like, what is this? Why did I spend my time giving my email? There's nothing more disheartening and distrusting that'll kill authority than having a crappy lead magnet. Give them your best stuff, the what and the why they should care, why it's important, what happens if they don't do this, what happens if they do this. Then give them the what. This is what you need to do because you are the how. You're the how. They're going to come to you anyways with the how. So yes, you're right, Kevin. It's a little less important. It's good for authority to give them great stuff, give your best stuff. However, for influence and persuasion and automatic influence and persuasion, yes, what you can do is by giving, there's an automatic reciprocation. Well, wow, Kevin did that for me. Or Ernest did this for me. Paul did that for me. Esther did this for me, right? Dr. Mitra did that for me. And it's a compulsion to, if you, again, it's not manipulation in any way, because if they like you, they trust you, they respect you, and they want what you have, they will often be very compelled to work with you because of that gift you gave them. That doing something nice first. Givers gain.
So I think like we're coming towards the latter part of the workshop. Is anything that that's really essential that you'd like to add before we kind of summarize and give our audience a chance to ask questions directly?
Absolutely. So get people thinking. Get people thinking and pondering instead of an all of a one-way conversation. Ask questions, whether it's live, whether it's a video, whether it's a sales or a training or a course or a webinar or whatever it is, or a free lead magnet that's a 5, 10, 15, 20-minute video. Ask questions. Give them exercises. Get them thinking, guys, instead of just, people. I mean, we have the internet. We have AI. People don't necessarily need more information.
Mm-hmm.
What they need is transformation. So what your expert is, why people will pay you guys is, okay, there's information here. Here's the information. This is what to do with it. This is how to make it real in your world. So tell them what to do with it. Again, people don't need more information. It's accessible at the snap of a finger. They need the transformation, how it's applicable to them. So find ways to make it interactive. Ask questions. Get them thinking. Give them exercises. Give them here's an intelligent action. So for example, before we go today, guys, I'm going to leave you with an intelligent action I would love for you to do. And what I would love for you to do is to think about, okay, which communication style am I weakest in? And is it visual? Am I a natural visual person? Am I a natural auditory? I like talking. Am I a natural kinesthetic, like feelings, like hugging, like experiences, stories? Am I very natural at being a fact finder, aka that auditory data? Do I like mountains and mountains of data? And that will help you realize, okay, well, where do I need to work? Which people am I going to have the hardest time connecting with? Right. And so that's my homework. That's the intelligent action for you guys. So again, just like practicing what I preach, giving you an intelligent action. Because I want you guys to get this. I want you to be able to connect with visual people, auditory, kinesthetic, fact finders, and write down another intelligent action. Write down K, A, V, and then A, and then lowercase d, AD, auditory digital. You can have it as a check mark when you do presentations, talks, trainings, your videos, your podcasts, whatever it is. So that's one intelligent action for you guys as well there. Tell your story, guys. Be authentic. Be open. Give them things. Give them lots of things, and you'll stand out from others. You're safe. I've got your back. Will create trust and rapport, as will being authentic, raw, real, vulnerable, avoiding being perfect. Because if you try to be perfect and you try to get right every time, you'll never do the video. You'll never do the recording.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want you to do it. And if you look at some of my old YouTube videos on my channel, maybe it'll give you some confidence to do your own videos, because they weren't the greatest. They weren't the prettiest videos when I started. However, I did it. So what I want you guys to do is make a list when you leave here. What are the top 5 or 10 ideas you'd love to share with the world? You've been dying to share with the world. You've been too scared to share with the world. And you're maybe a little worried about, well, what will people think about that? The top ideas you'd love to share that make you a little uncomfortable. What would people say? Will everyone agree with me? Will everyone disagree? Will everyone like it or not? It's okay if they don't like it. And here's something important I'll leave you with. Embrace the haters. Embrace the haters. It means 2 things. It means you have a message that's powerful, first of all. You have a powerful message. And it means you're actually getting out there and communicating and not hiding in a cave wishing you were changing the world. Right? Embrace the haters. We all have haters. We're all going to have haters. Not everyone's going to love what I say, and not everyone's going to love what you say, guys. Embrace the haters. It's okay. Embrace the failure, which is not really failure anyways. It's learnings. Remember, life happens for you.
Yeah. And we had a lot of our users that really, highlighted that point as well. And so I want to say, firstly, I've really enjoyed being with you, James. And I want to say a big thanks to our audience tonight, because people take time off, they've got lots of things to do, busy and activities, and they take time to join us. So we really appreciate that, at Big View and our speakers. And the second thing is, I'd like to say a big thanks to James. James keeps coming back and keeps delivering really fantastic workshops with really quality content. I encourage you to reach out to him. His contact details are in the chat now. If you need, you can also contact us for further contact details for James. I'd also like to let you know, I thank Bruno, a big thank you to Bruno, who really keeps it turning in the background for us. And just to let you know that next week we have as well an exciting workshop on elevating your video content with the Big View AI Magic Writer. So we've got Phil Palin and Yoav Reisner from our data scientists coming in to spend time with you, to answer questions, to show you how AI is relevant and pertinent in today's environment. And really, just it's been a really enriching experience for me personally, and I thank you all. So great, thanks for the time.
Right on. And if you guys want to connect, thanks for having me again, Kevin and Bruno. If you guys want to, if anyone wants to connect, unleashyourpower.com is my website. James@unleashyourpower.com is my email. You can find me on TikTok, just at James R. Elliot, ELLIOT, 1T, or just Unleash Your Power, James Elliot on YouTube as well. And remember, guys, people buy your why. People don't buy what you do. What'll differentiate, what'll have you stand out, they buy your why. So share why you do it. Why I do it is because I want to make the changes in the world. I want to empower you guys to have kick-ass lives. That's why I do it. I love helping people succeed. I love helping people win. I love seeing entrepreneurs go out, make a difference, because through a ripple effect, that's how I can make a big, big difference in the world too. Share your why. Constantly share your why. Broadcast your why to the world. Avoid worrying if someone likes it or does not. Share your why. Share why you do it. That is also a way to build authority and credibility, because, again, people buy your why. That's far more interesting often than what we do, which is why we do it. So share your why. Be passionate of it. Love it. People buy your passion. They'll love your passion versus I sell computers, or I sell coaching, or I do training, or I do whatever. Be passionate about it. People will buy that. That's what will connect with you. Be passionate in your videos. Show you. Show the real you. It's been fun. Thanks. Let me do what I love.
Absolutely. And thank you very much from Big View to James, to all our audience viewers, and to Bruno in the back end. And we look forward to seeing you back again next week. All the best. Bye for now.
Guys, have a great one.
Teleprompter, create videos you're proud of. Easily trim your video by selecting the words where you want to start and end. Color your presentation with automatic subtitles and highlighting keywords. Add your brand logo. Add music for an emotional touch. Add your contact info on an animated business card on all your videos. Easily replace green screen with an image or a video loop. Stand out with a web page with your logo, your video at the center, and personalized button for visitors to interact. It's one tap to simultaneously upload your videos on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Always know what to say next with the Big View teleprompter.